The woman was too stunned to speak. If you just watch the Oscars and you need people to talk about it with, you came to the right place. I'm people, and I'm ready to talk about the Oscars. For those of you guys who know me and are here all the time, welcome back. Thanks for being here live at the Roxy. For those of you guys who don't, and you just were on YouTube, like, who can I chat with about this? Welcome to the show. We're going to talk all things Oscars right meow. Because boy, oh boy, were there some surprises in there. I made a list of all of my highs and lows. We'll go over them, but I also want to hear from you guys. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. If you have questions, comments, concerns, things you want read out loud on the show, or you just want to support, then show on up, because here I am. I was like, do I really feel like going live earlier today? I'm like, do I really feel like going live after the Oscars? Let me put on the Oscars. Let me start the Oscars and see if I feel like I want to talk about this. I was about 10 minutes into the Oscars when I was like, and I'm going to make a stream because I have motherfucking ish to say. Yeah, by the way, sorry if you're new here. That's how we talk on this show. So let's get into it. The biggest thing that, of course, I'm thinking about right now, that most of you guys who've been following the entire award circuit are thinking about right now, is the fact that Demi Moore did not win for Best Actress for The Substance. And I'm just going to jump right in on that, because there's a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and a lot of feelings that we have about the entire Oscars this year. But the fact, all right, let's just really unpack this for a second. This was me digging while unpacking. Let's unpack this for a second. Demi Moore, icon Demi Moore, sweeps award season. She wins every single major Best Actress award, including the SAG Award, which was most recent, nominated by her peers, which is typically the one. The Critics' Choice and the SAG Awards are usually the awards where you're like, I can tell where this is going for the Oscars. And the Globes. Demi. More. Demi got more. So, of course, everybody was thinking that she was going to win the Oscar for this, myself included. And, it actually took me a minute, because I watched The Substance for Real Rejects on the channel. You guys can watch my reaction. I was so moved by the movie. I'm the horror. I'm the scream queen. I am a huge horror junkie on the Real Rejects channel. And I was blown away by The Substance, as anybody I've talked to who's seen it was. It really spoke to my soul as a woman in the industry, in an industry where being 33 years old makes you feel like you're a grandma. So I was so awestruck. And then the vulnerability of her performance, I just thought was mwah. And then the way that art imitated life in that movie, as Demi won the Golden Globe, and started talking about how she was told in her life she was always going to be a popcorn actress and she was never going to be taken seriously. And then watching that happen to her character in the movie, and then watching that happen to Demi in real life, it was just mind-blowing. But now it has happened again. Because if you haven't seen The Substance, I highly recommend it. But the entire movie is, the way they do it is a little different than this, but if you're reading between the lines, it's about aging out of life as a woman and not being seen the same way and not being treated with the same respect as when you're younger and hotter, and the world views you differently. And as we age, especially women, we are looked at different, and our value is a diminishing value the older you get, which is absolutely asinine. And the movie did such a beautiful job showing us this. But then to watch tonight, the youngest nominee, and this is no shade on Mikey. I want to pause here for a second. I am a massive fan of Mikey. I'm a fan of Mikey from Better Things, which is the Pamela Adlon show that I watched. And so I watched Mikey as a wee one. It really grow into her own on that show. She is a force. And Anora was a top 10 movie of the year for me. I absolutely love this movie. And I even have said this week to my friends, I believe I said this on the World Girls, that either I said it on the show or I said it to Steph afterwards. Mikey, the role she played, of all of the roles nominated for men, women, actress, lead, supporting, of every single role nominated, that would be the most intimidating role for me to take on. As an actress myself, I don't know that I would have said yes to that because it is so vulnerable and so intense. It's taking on the role of a sex worker. It's the nudity. It's the violence. It's the screaming. It's the range that you have to have. It's the dancing. It's the accent. It's every part about that character is to me the most intimidating of all of the characters. That is such a challenging role to play, especially in a significantly lower budget movie than a lot of movies that are nominated, and with a lot of actors that you've never worked with before, and talent that's not as proven in some areas. Like that is just such a hard role. Just I think it's so difficult to play the role that she played. All of that being said, she is the youngest, the most up and coming. It's very much like if you saw The Substance, the youth taking over, the youth being like, here I am, fresh faced and young and hot, and I'm here. And she wins nothing the entire award season and then comes in and swoop gets the Oscar. It literally is The Substance. It is The Substance. It's the plot of The Substance is what we just saw happen to Demi Moore in real life. That's what just took place. And it's really heartbreaking because of the craziest part about all this is years ago, I, as an actress, started to look at things completely differently. When I was growing up, and I would watch awards, I would feel like I had one horse in the game for every single nomination. Like I would watch every single thing that was nominated and I would root for one person in each category. And if that one person didn't win for that category, I would be pissed. Like, how dare they not give it to them? How dare they? Now, I very much so realize everyone who's nominated is obviously so talented, so fearless, so deserving, absolutely incredible, the best in the world at their craft. There's never a nomination anymore where I look at that nomination and I'm like, that person sucked. Like, that absolutely never happens. There's never even a nomination anymore where I look at the nominations and I'm like, that person's mediocre. They're all incredible. So I can't say this clearly enough. I think Mikey not only deserved the nomination, but she deserves the Oscar. I can't sit here and say that performance was horrible. How could she win? I can't say she's not deserving. I just feel awful for Demi, which is crazy because also, if we rewind to the beginning of award season, I was sitting here rooting for Cynthia. I started by being like, this has to be Cynthia. This has to be. I had seen all of the nominees. I was rooting heavy for Cynthia. She blew my mind in Wicked. The fact that Wicked didn't get more love for performances, for Best Picture, for score. I don't know why the Academy was not listening, wasn't into Wicked. I don't know what happened with that. Why weren't they as into Wicked as the rest of the world was? Or at least the people that I'm with and myself. But I really wanted Cynthia. But once Demi won her first award and she gave her first speech about everything, and I loved her in The Substance, I really started to be okay with the fact that I was like, no, I can get behind Demi. Like, this sucks that it isn't Cynthia, but there is going to be a Wicked 2, although she'll be nominated very likely as Best Supporting and not Lead based on the songs that are in the second half of the movie. But, I can't sit here and complain about Demi because she so deserves this. And then watching her win and win and win, I was just so invested in Demi's journey and so grateful that all of these people who get to have their votes were voting for this absolute megastar who's this isn't just a legacy award. This is a legacy award on top of this specific performance award. And then we go from her winning, sweeping. This wasn't even an Adrien Brody situation where at the SAG Awards, Timothée Chalamet ended up winning. This was a clean sweep. This woman was like, let me borrow your broom from Wicked because I need that to sweep all the awards. And then Mikey just kind of tiptoes in at the end. And I got to tell you guys, I can't say she didn't deserve it, but it's upsetting. It's upsetting to watch it not go to Cynthia, who put on live performance after live performance, had to sing, dance, and fly through the effing air live. These were not pre-recorded. These were live recordings. Or Demi, who spent her entire career waiting for this moment, decades on decades. This woman is in her 60s. I couldn't dream of looking like that in my 20s. And she's just amazing. And then there's Mikey, who gives an unreal performance. Unreal, deserving, but just not expected. And I even at this point, somebody asked me this morning, who's winning Best Picture? And I said, I think it's Anora. I had thought it was going to be The Brutalist, but it just felt like the tides were turning and that it was Anora. I can't claim that I can't sit here and tell you guys I was one of the OGs who back at the beginning was like, Anora's going to win. When I went and saw Anora in theaters, I was one of the only people I know who had seen Anora. And I was like, this movie's awesome. And people would ask me, oh, do you recommend it? And I'd be like, I don't know if it's for everyone. I loved it, but I don't know if everybody's going to like this. That mofo won Best Picture. And its lead won Best Actress. And its director-writer won everything. I mean, Anora was just like, you know how we haven't been winning everything prior to this? Well, buckle up, Oscars. Now, I do need to stop and rewind for a second also about the controversy about the Oscars this week, if you guys have seen, which is that the voters have openly stated that they are not watching every movie that's nominated. What's wrong with you guys? What's wrong with you guys? They have been like, you guys saw those quotes that were like, listen, Linda. Dune 1 was like really long and we didn't totally get it. So we just like didn't check out Dune 2. Most egregious lack of nomination ever is Denis Villeneuve not being nominated for director for Dune 2. Are you guys on Crackola? Like, are you truly on Crackola that he's not nominated as director for that movie? That's just, mind-blowingly baffling. John M. Chu, not nominated for Wicked as director. What are you guys smoking? And I don't want any of it. And usually I want what you're smoking, but I don't want that. If it makes me not look at Wicked and not look at Dune 2 and think that the directors should not be nominated, I don't want what you're smoking. All right, we have so much to talk about. I see there's Streamlabs coming in. I see there's super chats coming in. I see a few of my friends have stopped by. And one of them, Mark Ellis, in the house. Thank you, Mark. You're a doll. Hello from the green room at the Laugh Factory. Is that true? Daddy's got to pay bills to pay. Okay. You have a show tonight? I want to know who the crowd is that comes to West Hollywood on Oscar Sunday. Like, are you getting foot traffic afterwards? How's it all work? Let us know. Loved Conan's monologue. Yay, Anora. Love you to me. And I never want to disappoint John Lithgow, Roxy Stryer 2028. listen, my Oscar campaign starts now. For what movie? We don't know yet. We don't see the future like that. We just know the campaign starts now. The John Lithgow disappointed bit really worked for me. That Conan absolutely crushed. He did a couple little risque jokes in there that I was like, okay, Conan, you don't care that Carla's publicist is going to be mad at you for that one. That was smooth. Have a good set. And yeah, let us know who's coming tonight. Thank you so much to Kylie for the super sticker. Appreciate you, my dear. Shout out to Crystal, DW fan. Sorry I'm late, Roxy. You are right on time. The party doesn't start until Crystal walks in. Chazarus, I thought Demi's performance exposed was more raw. Okay, I totally hear you. I think that both Demi's and Mikey's performances were more raw, but Demi has lived more life, and it is, to me, something that I couldn't play Demi's role. I couldn't play that because I haven't lived enough life for those feelings to be in my soul, even though they've started. So it is more exposed in that way because less of us understand. And it's like watching a mirror to society by one of the few people in the performance space that could show us that. But Mikey's role was also extremely, extremely exposed. Mikey did the work, the research. She essentially co-authored Nora. Geoduct 206. Here's the thing. You're not going to hear me say a single bad word about Mikey. Star. An absolute star. Can't even say she didn't deserve the Oscar. So that's truly where I'm at. I'm not sitting here trying to be all like, you know, I don't want to say my real truth because I don't want to not because I'm working with these people in the future, whatever. It's nothing to do with that. I really feel like between Demi, Cynthia, and Mikey, they all three so deserved this award. I just was hoping it was going to be Cynthia or Demi. And there is also something about, Mikey's giving her speech and she said, this is like the dream of a lifetime or something. And I couldn't help but kind of giggle like you're in your 20s. And it's not that it's not valid for that to be your dream. It absolutely is. But like, this is the dream of a lifetime for Demi Moore, who's, I believe, 62. So to say like, it's the dream of a lifetime, I was like, that's a little lifetime, lady. That's a little lifetime. I'm not saying you didn't deserve it, but if we're going to talk about dreams of a lifetime, I have so many more things to talk about for the Oscars. So many. Let's see what's going on with you guys in the Super Chat and Streamlabs, though, because I really want to hear your opinions. And if you have questions, Streamlabs or Super Chat them in. I'll ask anything that comes into the Streamlabs or Super Chat. Love hearing your opinions on movies, Roxy. Everyone deserves to win, but only one can. I know. And I'm glad that Demi got her flowers for the entire award show circuit. I'm glad about that. I wish that Cynthia had won something, and she deserved that. But man, oh man, what a day. What an award show. Shall we go over, let me go into the Streamlabs and then let's go over so many major things that happened. In general, I actually thought that this was a really fun Oscars. The 3.5 hours flew by. So good job to Conan. Ace Money in the Streamlabs says, Hulu fucked me. Mike, how did Hulu fuck you? Mikey deserved the Best Actress nom, but beyond her performance, the movie was not Oscar caliber. Hold on. My friend Jess Lucero is calling me. I'm going to pick up and tell her we're live. Hi, I'm live at the Roxy right now.
Oh my God, hi.
You're on speakerphone with all the people. I just wanted to pick up just to see what you thought of the Oscars.
Dude, I was just calling to talk to you about that because I saw your post where you said Mikey Madison beating Demi feels like the exact plot of The Substance.
It does.
That's exactly how it feels.
That's so how it feels, dude. It's such a bummer because I can't say one bad thing about Mikey's performance. She's amazing. She was so good.
Well, no, not about her performance, but it's the fact that she's like so proud of not having an intimacy coordinator, that's the one reason why I was really not rooting for her.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like
I hear
I don't
you.
want that to have been what won for Best Actress because it's setting such a bad precedent, you know?
So did she say that on her press tour, or like when was she talking about not having an intimacy coordinator?
Yes, on her press tour when she did Actors on Actors with Pamela Anderson.
Yeah.
That was one of the big things that they were talking about then. But they were like very proud about that. And I'm like, guys, that's not something to be proud of.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I don't know why that would even be something like it's like who was it Jenna Ortega who had COVID when she filmed Wednesday and was kind of bragging about that, and everybody was like,
Yes.
"Shh, honey, like if you're gonna do that, just like don't talk about it, bro." Like,
Right.
why are you bringing that up?
Crazy is we can't judge you if we don't know.
Right, like just why is that something to be talking about? That's interesting. How did everybody feel about Honora winning? You were at a big event. Was everybody excited about that, or like were people surprised?
We ended up leaving early so that we were originally aiming to be home for Best Picture and for Best Actress, but we didn't make it home on time. Luckily, our Uber driver had it playing live, so we were able to see everything.
That's iconic. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was really lucky how it all worked out. But everyone was basically throughout all of the Oscars, we all just started noticing how much Honora had been winning.
I know.
Like, oh shit, there's like no other, like obviously it's gonna win Best Picture at this point.
Yeah, when it started winning, when it was like director and screenplay and like just getting so much love, it was very obvious. But it is hard. It's editing. Yeah, it's hard though because you know that this past week there's been all those articles about the Academy and the voters not watching all of the movies. So it's like, of course, if Honora is one of the movies you guys watch because it's an easier watch than a lot of the longer movies like Brutalist or Dune 2, of course it's going to be winning more things because more of you guys watched it. Not saying anything negative about the movie. I think Honora is amazing and I love Sean Baker, but it's like it was an easier one to view. So I think that that's part of the reason why it just was getting so much more love too.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of hype around it. A lot less people watched The Brutalist, but realistically, there's no reason why The Brutalist shouldn't have won for Best Editing on this slate. Like, Honora should not have won, despite the fact that Sean Baker apparently edited Honora himself.
Yeah, that was cool.
Like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, very cool, but I think Brutalist definitely was a better edit.
I like that he was like, good thing for the editor on this one because the footage was really difficult to work with. And I stopped for a second. I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, he's making fun of himself. Yeah, it's so hard to know with the editing. Like all we can see is what the final result is. So it's always hard to know like what was the canvas that you guys were working with. But if I thought if The Brutalist should win for anything, I thought it was so well edited. And just so long, like it was very long and there was a lot of work to do. I guess maybe that's why it didn't win. Maybe it was too long for people and people were like, you should edit some of this shit out.
Yeah, I think my biggest complaint with this year's Oscars is just like, well, there was a lot of politics getting involved with this year, but it was like so many of the movies that were so good weren't spoken about at all or were impossible to find. Like Sing Sing, I couldn't find it. I couldn't watch it at all. Or I'm Still Here.
Oh, you mean the politics? You mean the politics leading up to the Oscars, like everything with Amelia Perez and with the Brutalist with the AI stuff? Yeah, I thought you meant their speeches. I was like, I didn't think it was crazy political speeches this year.
No.
Yeah, I know some of them were really hard to access, and a lot of them that you could get, like, what was the one that I had this week? Brutalist, and I paid $20 for it. I was like, oh, this is so much money.
Oh my God, same. I literally bought it, and I was gonna text you and be like, if you still haven't watched it, but I haven't finished it.
It was just so I watched that, and then last night I watched Conclave. So I saw 8 of the 10 best pictures, but I didn't see I'm Still Here, and that one best foreign film. I thought it was going to be Amelia Perez. I'm kind of surprised.
I knew it would be I'm Still Here based on what I've been hearing and just, again, based on politics now. It would have been Amelia, I think, about, like, what, a month,
Yeah.
6 weeks ago, maybe.
Wait, what did you think about the joke about Carla when he was like, oh yeah,
That
her
was crazy.
publicist, and then like they really showed her and like stayed on her for a little
Oh my
bit.
God, I thought it was so funny. I thought it was actually like a really good joke, and also the fact that Carla is, the thing about Carla is I will say she's very funny and she is really smart despite the politics stuff. But like the politics stuff is so bad. Everything she ever said, it was terrible. So point being, he says his joke. She then turns to someone and says, "What is he saying? I can't understand him." But she speaks English and understands it really well. So I know she knew what he said.
So do you think she was making a joke there, or do you think she just didn't know how to respond?
I think she was just trying to not be on camera at that point.
Oh, oy vey. I don't know.
That's
it's so
my
hard for
guess.
me to call anybody smart who's like bigoted because then like, are you
I
smart?
know. Yeah, the second I said it, I'm like, well, not in that way.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. She's an intellect in some ways, I suppose. Man, oh man, people can be
But as
geniuses
far
in
as
their
like
field.
morals and good human,
No, I totally hear you. I mean, people describe Kanye West as a genius all the time, and in some aspects he is, and in other aspects he's a moron. So, you know, it does happen. Okay, I'm gonna finish up the show, but I will text you after because you were like the second I said it, I'm like, I feel you, girl. It's been a long day. The Oscars were 3.5 hours. Go home, get some sleep.
I love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye. All right, guys, we still have so many things to go over, and a lot of it's based on what you guys want to talk about. So going into the Streamlabs. So Ace Money had said, Mikey deserved the Best Actress nom, but beyond her performance, the movie was not Oscar caliber, in my opinion. I don't even understand how it was in the conversation while Dune 2 exists. A lot of the Oscars comes down to taste. It comes down to taste. I do think it's very impressive that an independent film like Anora was able to do what it did, a much lower budget film. You know, if you're talking about comparing it to Dune 2, it was a much bigger studio. What was it, $200 million movie? As opposed to Anora. Also, Dune 2 had every single star. I don't disagree with you on Dune 2. I loved that movie. But I do think that Anora was amazing. I don't think it was for everyone, which is why I'm surprised it won, but it was certainly for me. I loved the movie. RQMDSMD says, Roxy just sending support. I'm still wondering why they were doing James Bond songs. Yeah, they were honoring James Bond this year and honoring the Broccolis, maybe because of the turnover in the Bond franchise. I'm guessing that's why it was, or maybe they were honoring it before that happened. If anybody knows in the chat, let us know. Mike Joyce says, saw Nora for the second time in theaters and loved it even more. I'm not sure if it's a movie for older people, though. The three older women seated to my right were complaining about how sexual it was, and that Mikey and Sean Baker should be ashamed of themselves. That sounds out of touch, babes. I don't know how to say it other than that's out of touch. My brain was rooting for Demi to win, but my heart was rooting for Mikey. Oh, interesting. Also, shout out to Sean Baker, the first person to win 4 Oscars for one movie. That's wild stat. I loved his movies, and I'm really looking forward to his next one. Me too. Whatever it is, I will have my butt in the seat for sure. All right, let's go back to you guys in the super chat, see what's happening in here. Okay. Kylie Culpepper, what a cool last name. Kylie Culpepper says, in my opinion, Demi deserved to win the win only for the extensive hours of makeup and for the tone of the movie and the full commitment to the uncomfortable scenes. I love you. I'm so with you. It was a flawless performance, truly. Crystal says, I feel if you are voting for a movie to win at the Oscars, you should be required to watch all the movies if you're voting. So odd. Yes, of course. Yes, of course you should watch all of the movies. How crazy is that? Otherwise, it's just like a popularity contest. Geoduct206, no movie over 3 hours deserves best editing. It is a little indulgent. And I watched The Brutalist, and I did not feel it needed to be as long as it was. I have some qualms with the film in general, but it's a really well done movie. I just am shocked that it's not based on a real person, and that makes me like it less because why did you do to your lead character all the things you did? Although Adrien Brody was amazing, and I was happy for him that he won. Let's talk about Adrien Brody for a second while we're here. You guys know the most recent award for Best Actor went to Timothy Chalamet. For playing Bob Dylan in A Complete Unknown. I thought he was amazing. I was glad he won that. I loved his speech. I love him saying, "I want to be one of the greats." I love him shouting out Viola Davis. I loved him shouting out people of different fields too, like Michael Jordan. I thought that it was such a great speech. I don't care what people say. I didn't think it was. Uh, I didn't think it was full of himself. I thought that it was fucking perfect. If this is what you want and this is what you've given up so many aspects of your life for, then hell yeah, you want to be one of the greats. I want to be one of the greats. That's why I'm working so hard to just be on the map. I'm not even working towards being one of the greats yet. One day, but I gotta get closer. So I loved his speech. But I do think that if I was a voting member of the Academy, I probably would have given this to Adrien Brody too. His performance was truly, truly incredible. His speech was funny. I think that he did some really good things in his speech, but also him being like, yeah. Wait, I actually wrote it down because I was like, that's hysterical. He's like, I've been here before. Don't play me off. It's like, no, that's not really how it works. He said, please turn the music off. I've done this before. Please turn the music off. I've done this before. But he was very slow with his speech. He was very slow. However, I'm glad they let him finish because all night long, I was waiting for somebody who was Jewish to speak on the anti-Semitism that is happening in the world right now. And there was a big article in THR about how Jewish actors are incredibly afraid to speak out against anti-Semitism right now. And it is just a fact that anti-Semitism is on the rise. This is a fact. You can look at statistics and hate crimes and what's happening. And I'm only even right now speaking about what's happening in this country. So for A Real Pain and The Brutalist to both be such Jewish scripts and Jewish films, and for us to not be during the entirety of award season mentioning why you guys are getting nominated and what my people have been through, I was frustrated. But then he spoke up and he specifically talked about racism and anti-Semitism. And he said a couple of things that I really cared about hatred and not to let hate go unchecked. And I don't know that anybody takes their political cues from watching these award shows. I'm not sure that that's where anybody gets any of their political ideas, but I think it is so wildly important to stand by not letting hatred go unchecked, which this country and the world does continue to do all the time. We allow hatred to go unchecked and bullying to go unchecked. And we even encourage it at many turns. So I was grateful that he at least shouted that out, especially because it's part of why he's won his Oscars. It's part of a lot of the art that he's made. And it's a really messed up time right now. So I was grateful for that. Let's talk about some other things that I really liked in a moment. But first, going back to the Super Chat and the Streamlab to see what you guys are interested in talking about. Okay, here we go. This is coming from Lex is Hall. You are Hall. Lex is Hall. Roxy, would you ever want critics become Oscar voters? Well, there's the Critics' Choice Awards, and a lot of people just really value this. I know a lot of critics who thinks that critics should be the people who are voting at the Oscars. They are the ones who watch all the movies. I do think it's cool that the Academy exists and that it's the peers of the people, but I think it should be 100% mandatory and that should be tracked that you watch everything because you shouldn't be allowed to vote if you didn't watch everything. It's just crazy. Let's see. Chazarus, your friend got the wrong take on Carla. She was asking about the Jimmy Kimmel joke, probably because she doesn't know who that is. You think Carla didn't know who Jimmy Kimmel is? Huh. That's an interesting take. Wiley Todd says, hey, Roxy, I still believe that Like a Bird deserved Best Original Song by far. This was actually one of the awards for Amelia Perez that I was okay with it winning. Mall was a really good song, but I definitely hear you. And again, a lot of times it just comes down to people's taste. It's hard to say what's better than something else. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar. For those of you guys who are new here or new to supporting YouTube content creators, just know that as much as I appreciate your super chats, YouTube does take about 50%. So if you want more of the money to go to the creator, then head over to streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar and send in support there. Eric with a CK says, greetings, Eric with a CK here, just showing support. Roxy, by the way, I still call it the Academy Awards and not the Oscars. LOL. And Kieran Culkin, congrats on his win. Buenas noches, work in the AM. Good night. I hope you have good work tomorrow. I loved Kieran's everything. I love him finally shouting out Jesse Eisenberg and be like, you're a genius. It's the first and last time I'm going to say it. Soak it up. Really great. The how hysterical him being like, I'm going to take this time to share that my wife promised me a fourth child if I ever won an Oscar and she didn't believe in me. He's just completely unhinged, hysterical. He's so funny. It's just so funny. Everything he has done on this press tour has made people like him more. I even really like that he gave special shout out. I don't know what he said about Jeremy Strong because he was swearing so much, it was beeped out, but it seemed like he gave Jeremy Strong his flowers. And, they came off of a long running, one of the greatest shows of the last several decades in succession together. So watching him say, like, I know I'm not supposed to have favorites, but I thought that was really cool. And yeah, I love that he spent the time thanking his family and whatnot. I like when speeches talk about the art that they make, and Kieran doesn't really talk about like what a real pain meant to him. We know from watching his press tour that he tried to turn down this movie. He didn't want to do this movie, and even after signing on 2 weeks before the movie happened, he tried to back out of the movie, and that he had never met Jesse and didn't want to do the movie. And telling stories like that, I think, is really cool to do when you have your time on stage, but it's your word, your thing. And I thought his speech was very funny. So he's hysterical. And let's see if he ends up getting that up to 4 babies, because that's crazy. Adam Sandler's always a highlight for me. Adam Sandler coming over to Timothée Chalamet and doing the Timothée Chalamet after we saw at the Golden Globes the special shout out from Nikki Glaser about Adam Sandler, Timothée, the way he says it. And I love that came full circle. It kind of is a little nod to people who watch the entire award circuit and we're up to date on that. Plus, him being in his gym clothes is just peak Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler will never get old to me. He'll always be a top 10 celeb for me. I love him. I love him. I love his work. I love the trajectory of his career. I love his casualness. I love his 5-on-5 basketball. I love him. I love him. Everything is elevated by Adam Sandler being involved. He's just everything to me. So that was great. I thought there were some really great performances. If we're not going to give any love to Ariana or Cynthia, at least we open up the Oscars with them absolutely bringing down the house. Bringing down the house. I mean, there were great performances throughout the Oscars, but to me, Cynthia and Ariana, between their epic styling for the entire award circuit to every performance they've ever done together, just truly A+ aces. Incredible. What did you guys think about that? Let me know. Thank you for the super chats to Poco Loco. Super stickers, baby. Appreciate you. Thank you. Poco Loco. And to the Streamlabsers, keep on keeping on. Thank you for sending this in. Let's see what's going on with Clay in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar. Do you think a factor has to do with screen time? Almost the repeat of last year, maybe. Demi had more time on screen than Gladstone, but Emma and Mikey were pretty much the complete show. It's hard to say because Demi had so much screen time. She really did. And, I understand what you're saying, but Demi had so much screen time. So, if you compare it to any other year with the lead actress, they probably have as much screen time as Demi. I think that it just had to do with genre preference and taste. maybe they felt like Anora was a little fresher, and maybe horror films are not for them, or they look down on it. I don't know. It's hard for me to say because for me, it's to me, but yeah, I'm not sure. It's an interesting point. Do you guys think in the chat that it has to do with screen time and that's why Demi didn't win? She had so much screen time though. Streamlabs in, super chat in, continue to go down things that I thought. Shout out to Zoe for being the first Dominican woman and to the costume designer of Wicked being the first Black man. That was, it's crazy that the Oscars have been going on as long as we are, and we're still having people make history. Just absolutely batshit. But I'm glad that when people do, they bring it up in their speech because then it's in publications and it gets more attention. And that's what the point is. I thought it was really funny, the joke that some of these are just little thoughts I had throughout, but I loved Conan's joke about Ken. Now that we're at the halfway point of the show, it's time for Kendrick to come on stage and call Drake a pedophile. And then he was like, don't worry, I'm lawyered up. Guys, this is my serious question for you. Like, completely dead ass serious. Need you guys to weigh in on this. At what point are we as a society going to actually start questioning, is Drake a pedophile? And should something be done about that? Because, I mean, Kendrick says, certified lover boy, certified pedophile. Then he says, I hope you never go to cell block 1, as in Gen Pop, because you know what they do to pedophiles there. I mean, and he did this on the biggest stage at the Super Bowl, and now Conan's making jokes on it at the biggest stage at the Oscars. If you are Drake and you're not a pedophile, you should sue, because we all kind of are wondering now, is this a minor? I mean, there's not a person on the planet, I feel like, that doesn't know about the Kendrick Drake beef and doesn't think that Kendrick has now gone on a year-long victory tour on every biggest stage in the world, playing his song 7 times in a row, calling Drake a pedophile. And it's so big. It was at the Oscars. The Oscars are about movies. We didn't even have any television references. And we're referencing Kendrick Lamar calling Drake a pedophile. At what point are we like, as a society, what? What? Okay, so let me know your thoughts on that. It seems a lot of you guys are like, yeah, we've been questioning that. I know. How many times do you have to listen to the song that you're like, what? He says it with his full chest like 4 times in the song. Okay, continuing. Was it really awkward when the 2 people on stage for Amelia Perez just started singing Amelia? They're getting played off. And I was like, I'm cringe right now. It's so cringe. So happy for you guys. But like, this is such a cringe moment. That was funny. I loved the Los Angeles Fire Department telling jokes and the audience having to laugh. All the love in the world to LAFD. They saved so many people's lives and they deserve to be on every stage and at every award show. The awards that I went to, the SAG Awards, it was absolutely cringeworthy. Here's something behind the scenes that happened that was so wild. So wild. All of LAFD, not all of LAFD, but like 20 people from LAFD came out, and there was this like influencer section where people were cheering for people, and they're cheering for, they are like cheering for all the celebrities, and LAFD starts coming out and they're all standing there. And the influencers like aren't cheering for them or like understanding what's happening. And then Ethan Slater walks by and all of them are like, Ethan Slater. And all the LAFDs just standing there and they're like, Ethan Slater. And I was like, Are you guys so dense to not understand that these are the people who we owe our lives to that are standing here? And you're Ethan Slater. Like, who gives a fuck? So, nothing against Ethan Slater, although some things against him, like the infidelity stuff. But regardless, I'm not saying Ethan Slater. Do you see the fire department? Do you see the fucking fire department? It was so awkward. And the fire department's just standing there not knowing what to do. You guys are out of touch. That was redonkulous to me. So annoying. I really appreciated for the documentary shouting out peace for Palestinian people and for Israeli people, and that is achievable. And for shouting out that the hostages needed to be returned and that Palestinian people need to be not under evil rule and military rule. That felt very simple to me. I understand that some people don't like politics in their Oscars. I don't really give a shit about that. If you want, use your platform, however, especially if you're winning for a documentary. Yeah. Motherfucking give the hostages back. And absolutely equality for everybody. And Hamas needs to go. And people need to be treated with equality and respect and not under military rule or occupied. So, I mean, I thought that they handled it well. And I think that it's become controversial to say two things at once. And the way that no other land did, and made sure to say, not only do people in Palestine deserve to be free from the horrible threat of terrorism and of absolute like devastation of all of the bombings and not having anywhere safe to be, but also October 7th was an absolute terrorist attack, and the hostages are still waiting to be returned. So I thought that was well done, and I appreciated that they held space for both truths, because people seem to not know how to do that, which is kind of like just baffling to normal people like probably you and me, who are like, yeah, human life matters, and we support that. So yeah, anyway, let's look at other things that I liked, and you guys send in Streamlabs and Super Chat. Oh, here's a random thing I liked. Miles Teller and Miley Cyrus, them presenting together. I thought they had chemistry. I was like, where's the Miles Teller Miley Cyrus movie? Because Miley can act. Miley's my girl. You guys know she's my number one favorite pop star. I'm absolutely obsessed with Miley, have been forever. However, I don't get the blonde eyebrow thing. And she can rock anything. She's an absolute rock star, truly. But I'm not into the blonde eyebrow thing because they're so bleached. It just makes that part of you disappear. It did kind of make me think like, oh, that's a Nosferatu look. Like that is, you could be a vampy girl. But that's not the point of this. The point is, I like that little bit of chemistry between Miles Teller and Miley Cyrus. They had a good little back and forth. It was so brief, but for me to be like, you guys should be in a movie together. And I think they should. So just wanted to let you guys know that. Let's look at you guys. Streamlabs, Super Chat. What's going on with you? Paco Loco, Paco Loco, Paco Loco, Paco Loco. I don't think he is, but he'd be a little bee about it. I think you're probably talking about Drake. And I don't know. Sometimes I believe where there's smoke, there's fire. And sometimes I believe that rap beefs be rap beefs. So you guys let me know. How are you feeling about that? Streamlabs.com/RoxyStryer. Like I said, more of your support goes to the actual creator, significantly more. So if you would like to send in support, please go over to Streamlabs. But I do appreciate the super chats as well. Jess Kuo in the Streamlabs says, I was happy the Oscars let Cynthia and Ariana sing their songs and not muck it up like they did with We don't talk about Bruno, no. A few years ago. Same. Why would you have Cynthia and Ariana there and not have them sing their songs? Just thank goodness. Agreed. Mike Joyce says, I was rooting hard for Sebastian Stan, Ariana Grande, and Jeremy Strong to win. Bummer for you. Sorry. They totally deserve to win in my eyes. Hopefully, Ariana had more of a chance to win next year. I didn't watch The Apprentice. I'm not a voting member of the Academy, or I would have, but I didn't watch it. I hear that Sebastian Stan and Jeremy Strong were amazing, and it sucks when you're rooting hard for somebody and they don't win. So I'm sorry that all three of the people you're rooting for didn't win. Did anybody that you were rooting for win tonight? Let us know. RKMDSMD says, I love the opening of the show. Cynthia and Ariana singing, followed by Conan's Substance parody. That was wild, that parody. I was like, how long did this take to shoot? That was wild. I love the opening too. It just set the tone for the entire thing. It was fun. It was a fun Oscars. Jesco says, I will never tire of Drake catching strays. Matt Gaetz, a known pedophile, is free. It took a long time before R. Kelly was convicted. It will be the same with Drake. Do you think so? So you think for real? Like you think for real? A minor. Let us know, Streamlabs in, Super Chat in, what else from the Oscars you want to talk about as I go through my list of things that I gave a shit about in tonight's award. Okay. I guess Americans are finally excited to see someone stand up to a powerful Russian. Conan on Honora. I mean, I don't know how, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, you could have watched Trump and Vance with Zelensky and thought anything other than this is so fucking embarrassing. This is so embarrassing. Like, oh my God, this is mortifying that this is the way that this is embarrassing, the way to treat an ally. Mortifying. So I loved SNL's sketch on this week. I thought it was chef's kiss. They did such a great job. Bowen Yang having a great weekend, having a great year. I love Bowen. Watching Bowen come through for SNL with fans. I mean, incredible. Watching him show up in costume for that Wicked bit at the Oscars, incredible. But yeah, I loved that. And I loved this joke. Yeah, really good one. Very funny one. I'm here for it. Okay. I liked this in Adrien's speech, going back to Adrien Brody's speech. No matter where you are in your career, it can all go away. I think that's very relevant to anybody in any area of their life. I think people think, we're working very hard for something, but once you have portions of your dream, whether that's your career or your love life or children or finances or whatever, some things are just past our what we can do, are past out of our control, and things can all go away. And I think about that all the time. And there was this line in The Brutalist at the end where they talk about it's not the journey, it is the destination. I think that's an interesting concept. Obviously, a lot of people believe that is the journey. I think it's kind of a combination of both, but especially for how you're remembered, oftentimes it is the destination. If that's something that matters to you. Some people don't give a shit about being remembered and they care about the one life they live. But I thought no matter where you are in your career, it can all go away. That was interesting. Could we talk about Quentin Tarantino for a second? Hello, everybody. Why did Quentin sound like that tonight? I'm a massive fan of his. He is an unbelievable artist. He's a little quirky cat. Like, seems like he's done some really weird things in life. But tonight it did not even sound like him. And the nominee. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen. Like, hello, everybody. I was like, what's happening right now? He's so weird. Did you see during Sean Baker's speech about movie theaters and how important it is for us to support movie theaters as artists, Quentin Tarantino was smiling. And you guys know he's an independent movie theater owner and really supports movie theaters. His smile was so big, I thought his head was going to explode. Hello, everybody! It was so, I mean, I was cracking up. Just like, this man, I mean, he's kind of like all of us if we were there. The nominees! Yeah! He really made me laugh out loud. It was good. It was really, really good. I was like, yeah, get it. Oh, I have a question for you guys. How did you watch the Oscars? For those of you who did, what did you watch it on? I was able to watch this on my Broha's Xfinity account because I could not stream it on ABC or on Hulu. Needed YouTube TV or something. So, how did you guys watch? What did you guys use? Okay, Josh, thanks for the super chat. Josh Vaskovich says Brody's acceptance speech was moving and meaningful. I agree. I thought that there was a lot of pauses and it seemed like he didn't know. For somebody who was very likely to win the Oscar, it didn't seem like he knew where he was going. Kind of like bounced around, but there were parts of it that were really, really beautiful. Okay, ABC, CTV, Spectrum on ABC. Audio was not working on a local station. Whoa. Hulu until it got cut off before Best Actress. What? It got cut off. That's a stinker. What happened? That's crazy. Hello, everybody. Leonard Kim in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer says Dune Part 2 should have won Best Actress, in my opinion. Sorry, won Best Picture. I was like, They should have won Best Picture, in my opinion, but I'm not mad at Nora winning. Solid movie. At least Dune Part 2 picked up some of the technical awards and finally got some recognition. Who's been your favorite host this award season? Nikki. Conan did great, but Nikki. I thought Nikki absolutely brought the house down. She was so, so good. And yeah, I'm glad that Dune got some technical awards. I still can't believe that Denis is not nominated. It's just egregious. Not only do I think he should have been nominated, but I think he should have won. So that's crazy. Oh my God. Hi, Janine. Janine, but cut off literally right at the end. Oh, that's wild. Jessica Woe in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Surprised during the digging up dirt period of Oscar campaigning that Sean Baker's liking pro Kyle Rittenhouse tweets didn't come up. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean he liked pro Kyle Rittenhouse tweets? I have never met somebody on the not on the planet, because obviously there was a lot of people who rode for Kyle Rittenhouse, which is crazy, but what were the tweets? Just as I mean what I said. I remember and care about what happened with Kyle Rittenhouse. What were the tweets that he liked, though? Like, they were pro, like, Kyle Rittenhouse is great, and he liked those tweets? That's wackadoodle. I need to look into it a little more. Wow. One Coven just in the super chat pointing something out. That's wild. Sean Baker has 4 times the amount of Oscars as Martin Scorsese. No matter how you feel about it, Nora, that's disgusting. I agree. That is wild. Sean Baker just seems like such a, like an innovative. I need to know what you're talking about. Does anybody know more on that? Ooh. Yeah, like Jess said when she called in, the politics going into the Oscars this year were intense. Clay in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer said, didn't know who Ray was, but wow, that's how to absolutely kill on stage. What did you feel about the performers overall? I'm sorry, I watched the whole thing and I don't know what you're talking about. let's see. I'm probably just blanking for a second. It's been a long day. Ray did she did one of the Bond tributes. I thought a lot of the performances were good. I've never seen a James Bond movie, so the Bond stuff, like I was still watching, but was a little tuned out for it, even though a lot of them are like big old songs. Um, I love the Wicked performance the most. The singer Ray. Yeah, I don't know much about Ray. But yeah, I always think performances help a show just move along quicker, and especially if they're great ones. Um, wow, yeah. Oh, yeah, she did a good job. I had to look up who she is though, so that's on me. Sorry, guys. Ray, what did you say again? I didn't know who Ray was, but wow, that's how to absolutely kill on stage. Yeah, she did do a great job. And thank you for bringing that up because it's good for me to know the names of people who do great work, and I had already forgotten. So thank you, Clay, for that. Shout out to everybody who has Streamlabs and super chatted in so far. Crystal, Mark Ellis, Kylie Culpepper, Chazarus, Geoduct, Wiley Todd, Stardust and Madness, Lexus Hall, Paco Loco, Josh Vaskovich, and in the Streamlabs, Clay, Leonard Kim, Jess Kuo, RQMDSMD, Mike Joyce, Eric the CK, Ace Money. You guys have been amazing all night. I am getting out of here all night. For the last hour and 1 minute. It does feel like all night long. If you guys have any other things that you really want to talk about that are related to the Oscars, send them in now so that we can. Were there any other major snubs that you were bummed about, or any other major surprises that you were excited about? Let me know in the Streamlabs and in the super chat. Would love to hear from you guys as we are closing out the show. Overall, it was I would say I wouldn't call this Oscars lackluster because I thought it was fun, but it was uneventful in the sense that nobody got slapped. Nobody announced that La La Land was the winner. No, there wasn't crazy drama at the actual show, especially for an Oscars that leading up to. There was so much drama. I found that to be, it was nice just to celebrate the art. And there was a lot of great movies this year. So Crystal DW fan says, one day we'll see our Roxy nominated at the Oscars. Thank you so much, my dear. I have some cool news coming up that I'll talk about on the show in the next couple of weeks, I'm sure. But for now, thank you for saying that. And I got to walk the carpet at the SAG Awards this year. My friend Jess invited me to SAG Awards, and then Netflix allowed us to walk the carpet. And I was so grateful for that, even though I got on a worst dress list. My brother didn't like my outfit, and it seems like men, some of them didn't love it, but the girlies loved it. Whatever, I loved it. I thought my dress was amazing and sick. But I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. My whole life, since I was 3 years old, I've dreamed of being an actress. And to walk a carpet for such a major award show, I just thought that was like the coolest thing ever. I think that's why Timothy's speech really spoke to me, because I don't think anybody should be embarrassed about saying what their dream is. If something's your dream, it's your mother effing dream. And especially if you've had to sacrifice to get your dream, which I don't know anybody who has a dream that they haven't had to sacrifice for. It's just really cool. So there's always a little tinge of me when I watch the Oscars that just feels like, man, I just want to be there. I want to be there. Even more so than that, the Emmys. You guys know the Emmys are my thing because television is my thing. Even though the Oscars are the more prestigious of them, I love the Emmys. And I hope that one day, and I know that one day, I'm going to say it like that, manifest that I'll be amongst the stars. I'm going to keep working until I am. So anyway, those are just some of my closing thoughts. Before we get out of here, just checking back in with you guys in the Streamlabs, seeing if there's anything else that we missed. Clay in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy says, real quick, the wild robot lost. What the fuck? I hadn't seen that, but I do know people loved Flow. That's what won for that category, right? But I was surprised because people love Wild Robot. So That's kind of a bummer for them, but maybe it'll just cause more people to watch Flow, which again, I didn't see. And I didn't see Wild Robot. So I'm really behind on my animated always. But yeah, I'm glad you brought it up because there's a lot of categories that obviously we didn't talk about tonight. These were just my overall thoughts. It was a 3.5 hour show. So we've gone almost 1/3 of the length of the show just talking about the show, which I guess means we liked it. Overall, out of 10, 1 to 10, you guys in the comments right now, what would you rank this Oscars? 1 being unwatchable and you'll never watch the Oscars again. A 10 being best Oscars in every of all time in all 70, 80 years. How many years did it? 78 years, 79 years. What would you rank this Oscars? 1 to 10. Wow. Really high, guys. 9, 9, 9.5, 8, 8, 7. High scores coming in 7. Okay, so no scores right now below 6. So no scores below 6 right now. 6, 8, 8. Okay, Marcello wanting to be different with that 5. I see you. I thought it was a good one. I thought it was definitely a good one. I don't think I would go so high as 9 because to me, but probably it was like a solid 8. A solid 8. Conan did a really good job, solid, a lot of funny jokes. And I didn't even talk about any of the outfits. There were some great wardrobe pieces. I'm sure Steph somewhere is talking about that. And but yeah, it was pretty good. Better than mid, people, says Roger. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining me live after the Oscars. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm thinking about going live more often after things because I just get so excited and then I'm solo and like there will be episodes of Severance and then I'm solo or like I'm watching it, things that I'm watching live and I'm like, where are the people at? So let me know in the comments if you guys think that that's a good idea. And other than that, thanks for being here. Stay safe, stay sane, put down the toilet seat and lid. We don't want those buffoons. Don't trend with the Holocaust. Justice for all of the people who have lost their lives due to excessive force. My body, my choice. Wherever on the rainbow, we love you. We stand with the women of Iran, some of the bravest women we've ever seen. Shout out to the Zen one himself, Glenn Caesar, who we've gotten an update from, and he is doing okay. So happy to hear that. That was from like maybe 2 months ago. Anyway, thanks, Rockstars, for being here. And I will see you guys next time. Later.